Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking about how to solve multi-step word problems. And so what they look like, what is a multi-step problem, and then how we solve these different kinds. So if something is multi-step, multi means more than one. So this means that you are going to be doing more than one step. You're going to be doing more than one problem or more than one part of a problem. So you have to solve one part of the problem, and then you solve a second part, basically. So it's like, oh, well, I have to know how many cups there are, and then I have to figure out how much is going to go in each of those cups. So you're basically solving the problem twice, almost. You have to figure out one thing before you can figure out the answer that they're actually asking you for. And so with word problems, I always tell people, whenever you encounter a word problem, think about these few questions. What do you know? So what do I know based off what the word problem gives me? Do I know that there's 5 cars? Do I know that there are 20 students? What is it I know? And then also, what are they asking? So are they asking you to find the cost? Are they asking you to find how many people there are in the building at that time? So what are they asking you to do? What's the question? And then what operation am I doing? So most of the time, the wording in the word problem is going to tell you what you're doing. If they say, I have 5 less of something, that means, oh, okay, I'm probably going to be subtracting. If they say that each person gets 7 apiece and there's 12 people, a piece tells us that we are multiplying. So look for words in the word problem that tell us what kind of math we are going to be doing. So that's all operation is what kind of math are we doing? Are we adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? Because really all math is just those 4 operations with maybe a few different rules to it. So when it's a multi-step problem and you have to do more than one thing, basically. So again, the first thing you ask, what do I know? What do I know about this problem? What information do they give me? And what are they asking me? What are they asking me for part 1? What are they asking me for the first part of the question? And what are they asking me for part 2? And also ask yourself, after you solve part 1, do you have what you need to solve part 2? So it's like, okay, I think I got the answer for part 1. Is this going to help me solve part 2? If it's not, you might have to go back and see if you did something wrong. Maybe you made a mistake somewhere. And the best way I know how to demonstrate this is just to show you several examples of how we would do problems like these. So in this first example, they say Parker makes $20 an hour at his job. He receives a 15% raise. How much does Parker make in an 8-hour workday after his raise? So for this problem, we have to do several things. So he's making $20 an hour. I know that. So he makes $20 an hour. And he's getting a 15% raise. How much does he make in an 8-hour workday? So this is what they want to know. He makes $20 an hour. He's getting this raise. So after this raise, how much is he going to make in one workday? So what we're going to do, we're going to take the stuff that we know. So I know that right now he's making $20 an hour. But it says that he gets a 15% raise. So the very first thing I have to figure out on this kind of problem is what he earns after the raise. So I know what he was originally getting. What is he getting after this raise? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my $20 and I'm going to figure out what 15% of that is. So if you've got a calculator, you go 20 times 15, and then there is a percent button. So you hit the second button, and then you hit the left parentheses, or sometimes I call it the left Lego hand, because the percent sign is right above that button written in green. And so 15% of 20 is 3. So that's $3. So he's getting a $3 raise. So sometimes we think, oh, okay, well, I got that $3, I'm done, but there's still more steps that we have to take. So he's earning $3 more, but we need to know what is his salary right now. So what we do with this, we take the $20 that he was already earning, we add that $3 raise that he got. So he is getting $23 an hour. And so that's our first step. So we figured out how much he's getting an hour after his raise. But look, we're not done. They want to know how much does he make in an 8-hour workday. So we know he's getting $23 an hour. We have to figure out how much he gets when he works 8 hours. So we're going to take 23 and we're going to multiply it by 8. So 23 times 8 is $184. So after he works an 8-hour day, he earns $184 in one day. All right, let's look at another example. So this one is a multi-step problem, and it's dealing with fractions. Sandra has a picture 12 1/2 inches wide, and she wants to center it on a section of a wall that is 28 3/4 inches wide. How much wall space will be on each side of the picture? So the first thing we have to do on this one, so since she's got this wall, so this section of the wall that's 28 3/4 inches wide and the picture is 12 1/2. So since she wants to center this, basically we have to figure out how much wall is going to be covered by the picture, or it will not be covered by the picture, excuse me. So that's 28 3/4, and we're going to subtract 12 1/2. And so when we do that, we get 16 1/4. And so that is how much wall is not going to be covered by the picture. And so to center this picture, what we have to do is we have to get half of the width of the wall not covered by the picture. So we're going to take that 16 1/4 and we're going to get half of it. And so to get half of it, we divide by 2. So when we divide by 2, we get 8 1/8. And so that means that there is going to be 8 1/8 inches of wall space on each side. So we had to figure out how much wall was not covered by the picture, and then we had to divide that in half to figure out how much wall space would be on each side. Alright, now this one is an example of, it's not necessarily a word problem, but it is a multi-step problem. There's several different things that we have to do here. And it says use the order of operations to solve the expression. Now, if you're not familiar with the order of operations, sometimes we call it PEMDAS, or maybe you've heard please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So the P stands for parentheses. This is what we always do first. Our E stands for exponents. M stands for multiply. D stands for divide. A is for add, and S is for subtract. And so that is what we have to do. We have to do this particular order for our problem to turn out correct. So the first thing that we're going to do are the numbers in the parentheses. So we have 4 minus 7. And so when you take 4 and you subtract 7 from it, you get negative 3. So I'm just going to bring everything else down. Put a negative 3 in that parentheses. And so after I deal with my parentheses, then I have to deal with the exponent. So I've only got one exponent here. I have x squared, sorry about that, 6 squared. And all 6 squared is just 6 times 6, which is what? 36. So I've got 36 minus 3 times negative 3 plus 8 divided by 2. So now that I've evaluated the exponent, I am going to do I'm going to multiply and divide. And so since multiplying and dividing go together, we do these from left to right. So multiply shows up first right here, and then we have dividing over here. So I've got 36, and what does 3 times negative 3 give me? Negative 9. So I've got minus negative 9. And then what is 8 divided by 2 going to give me? It's going to give me 4. So I have plus 4. And so then I do adding and subtracting from left to right. So first I have subtracting, and then I have adding. So I'm going to subtract 36 and negative 9. So 36 minus negative 9 is the same thing as adding 9. So 36 plus 9 is 45. And then I'm going to bring this plus 4 on down. So what does 45 plus 4 give me? 49. So my answer is 49. So I had to do several different steps to do this problem. I had to use the order of operations to make sure that I got the right answer. And so anytime you are looking at a problem that looks something like this, if they've got adding and subtracting and exponents and parentheses, you need to do it in the order of operations, PEMDAS, or sometimes we say, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, because if you don't do them in the right order, you can end up getting the wrong answer. So you can technically do the operations right. You multiplied right, you added right, you subtracted right. But if it's not in the correct order, you're not going to get the right answer. All right, here is another multi-step problem. So this is, again, it is involving decimals and percents. They love multi-step problems like this. They use these a lot to get interest, to find the percent of change, things like that. So Juanita earns $14 an hour plus a bonus of 12% each day for overtime hours. Today, Juanita works 8 hours of regular time and 5 hours of overtime. How much money did she earn today? So, first of all, what are they asking me to do? They want to know how much money she earned today. And so what do I know? I know that she gets $14 an hour plus a bonus of 12% each day for overtime hours. Today, she worked 8 hours of regular time and 5 hours of overtime. So the first thing I'm going to do in this problem, so my first step, I need to figure out how much she was getting paid for overtime. So it says that she's getting 12% each day for overtime hours. So if she's getting $14 an hour, what they're saying is that she gets 12% of that $14 for every overtime hour. So I got to figure out what is 12% of 14. So that's my first step. So again, you can just go on your calculator and multiply 14 times 12%. And that gives you $1.68. So that means that she is earning $1.68 for every hour that she's working overtime. So she worked, today she works 8 hours of regular time and 5 hours of overtime. How much money did she earn today? So our next step, we are going to take what she is normally getting in an hour, and we're going to add this $1.68 bonus that she gets. So that gives us $15.68. So that is what she is getting for overtime, because she's getting what she normally makes for an hour plus 12%. So this rate right here, this is what she gets for an overtime hour. So I'm just going to put OT there. Now our third step, we have to add, we've already done that. So now we've got to figure out how much she got in her regular hours and then how much she earned for overtime. So she got $14 an hour, and she worked 8 regular hours. So we're going to multiply 14 times 8, and she got $112 even. And so that's for her regular hours. But now we got to figure out what she was getting for overtime. So we're going to take this $15.68, so that's what she gets for 1 hour of overtime. And we're going to multiply it by how many hours she worked overtime. And it says she worked 5 hours, so we're going to multiply that by 5. And when we do, we get $78.40. So the 112 is what she's getting normally, and then that $78.40 is what she's getting for overtime. So our last step is to add these together. So $112 plus $78.40 gives us what? So she is getting $190, and 40 cents. So how much money did she earn today? She earned $190.40. Now this one we have a multi-step problem with fractions. A team equipment manager buys 4 football helmets at a cost of $101.25 each, plus 8% sales tax. She paid a fourth of the total in cash and put the rest on the team's credit card. How much was charged to the credit card? So that's what they want to know. They want to know how much she charged to the credit card. And so what do I know? I know that a helmet is $101.25 each, plus 8% sales tax. And I know that she's got to buy 4 of these helmets. I know she's paying for a fourth of it, but then the rest of it, that 3/4 is going on the team credit card. So let's figure out what we've got to solve first. So I need to figure out how much she is paying for these helmets. So first of all, I know that $101.25 is the cost of 1 helmet, but she's buying 4. So my first step is going to take this cost of the helmet, and I'm going to multiply it by 4, because I need to know how much 4 of these helmets are going to cost. And so when I do that, I get $405 even. So 4 helmets is $405. Makes me glad I didn't pay football. I didn't play football. That is very expensive. So after I figure out what the cost of the 4 football helmets are, my second step is to figure out what the tax is going to be. So I have to take that total. I have to take the $405, and I have to figure out tax. So I have to multiply by 8%. And remember, you can do that on your calculator by hitting the second and then the left parentheses for the percent key. And so tax is $32.40. But now I have to take that total cost and I have to add it with my sales tax. So 405 plus 32.40. That gives me $437.40. So that is what the total cost of these helmets is. So that's how much all of it is going to cost. But it says that she paid for a fourth of it in cash and she put the rest on the card. So our next step, we got to figure out what a fourth of that is. So I'm going to take my $437.40 and I'm going to divide it by 4. Now another way that I could do this, so she paid a fourth of it, she put the rest of it on the credit card, and they want to know how much was on the credit card. So another thing that I can do, so she's paid a fourth, and I need to know what 3/4 of it is, basically. So if she's already paid 1/4, that means there's 3/4 left to pay. And that's what they want to know. So what I can do is I can multiply this by 3/4. So when I do that, I get $328.05. So that was how much was paid on the credit card. So she paid $328.05 on the credit card. All right, let's look at one more. So this is another multi-step problem, but again, it's order of operations. So it isn't really a word problem. We're just doing this with the order of operations. So remember, our order of operations is PEMDAS. Or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, whichever one works for you. So the first thing I have to do is my parentheses. And I have two sets of parentheses. So first I've got to go 18.5 times 0.3. And when I do that, I get 5.55. Oops. And then I have to do my other parentheses. So 3.15 divided by 3 gives me 1.05. And so after I do my parentheses, I have to do my exponent. So the e is exponent. So 6 squared is 36. And I'm just going to bring everything else down. And then all I have left is subtraction. And so what we do is we just subtract from left to right. So first I'm going to subtract these. So 36 minus 5.55 is 30.45. And then I'm going to subtract 1.05. And I get 29.4. So that is my answer, 29.4. So that is it for multi-step problems. I hope that this cleared some questions up for you. So some of these are word problems, some of these are just straight up math problems where you have to follow the order of operations, but I hope this helped. Check out the Google Classroom for a self-check on this. Check your understanding, make sure that you got it, and I hope you have a great day. And remember, if you've got any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to us. Bye-bye.